Alright, and okay, another tutorial. This is how to add a player model to your fan game. It's kind of like an offline player model. You know how like Monkey Mischief or like Monkey's Realm, there's an offline player model, and it just has one set color before you join a lobby. So I'm gonna kind of be teaching you how to add that, except we don't have multiplayer net yet, which is the next tutorial. Okay, so you want to make, I recommend making a folder for like the textures, which I just did after the last tutorial, the blue and the green. I recommend making a folder by right clicking on the assets, hover over create and look for folder, and then name it whatever you want. I already have one, so I don't need it. And then the scripts, don't worry about, there's already one, and then I have a script you'll need here, which I'll leave a link in the description for. So you want to make sure you have a player model, like any player model you can use. I'll leave that up to you to find, but you want to have the player model and textures for the player model, which I'll leave that up to you to find too. I'm going to use my player model from my game Monkey Insane, which is on itch. You should go download it. I'm going to use my player model from my game Monkey Insane. So what you want to do is, once you have the player model, you want to drag it into your scene, and you want to just scale it to the right scale or size. So I recommend like 0.2 or 0.20 or 25, and do that. I'll put it on the scale, not position, the scale. And I recommend putting the gorilla rig to position to 0. Really quick, and the player model to 0. It's kind of like that. Pretty weird. So if you need to, so set both positions to 0. So it's kind of like that. If you want to hide an object, click on it in your hierarchy or in the scene. Click on it, and right next to the name where there's a check box, uncheck it and it'll hide. Alright, so I'm gonna hide my floor, and my my player model, I'm gonna name it player model, and I'm gonna right click on it, prefab, and unpack completely. So now that allows me to edit stuff inside of here, like this and stuff. I don't recommend moving like the bone and stuff though. Okay, so in the gorilla rig, go under to gorilla player and main camera, and in main camera drag player model into main camera. Now I'm gonna move my game view. If you drag this down, drag left click and hold, you can move your game view. So I'm gonna move that, and then just adjust the player model, and I'm gonna drag on my textures really quick, and maybe edit them a bit. If you want to change how small the textures are, go to tiling, however you pronounce it, and just up the number. The lower it is, the bigger it is, the higher it is, the smaller the face texture. Okay, and if you want your textures to be pixelated, don't click the material, the one with the circle. You want to click the square image that you imported. Oh, and also to make like a texture to the circle like that, so you don't drag it on, I recommend the quick way is just grabbing it and then dragging it on, and it makes a material for you. Or you can create a material, name it whatever you want, and then drag on like the square image onto this part right here on the top next to the white bar. Drag it there, and then you can now drag it on. As you can see, it works. I am going to delete it though, because it clogs up space. Alright, so I'm gonna adjust the player model to be a bit better. I'm gonna do negative. I'm gonna just drag it like that. I don't need it to be perfect. I do recommend making yours perfect though, since it is your Gtag fan game. Be up a bit more. That's good for me. And then you can drag that back up. Now, if you move your gorilla rig, your player model will move with it, as you can see. So I recommend just moving it back up and unhiding the floor. Again, just click on it and then click the checkbox. After you do that, now what you want to do is on the two spheres, go over here or double click on it slowly, but go over here and make one sphere L and one sphere R. So I recommend going like behind the player model and seeing which sphere is on which side. So the top sphere is sphere L and the bottom sphere is sphere R. So that's for the right hand and left hand. And then you can just click on both of them or select both of them, and to do that select one and hold control and click on the other or shift, and then where it says mesh renderer in the box, hide that or uncheck that, not the one next to the name, the one that's in the mesh renderer section right there. And as you can see, the name's not grayed out, so that means it still works. Now what you want to do in the player model, you want to go to the drop down to armature under bone, and then it should, not this one because this one is like the neck and stuff. You want to go, yours might be labeled or not, mine is. You want to go to the L shoulder, or you just want to find the bone that has the wrist. So I recommend just going around. I have mine labeled, so it might be named like hand or wrist, either one. I name my hand because it's easier for me to find. So you want to go to them, and link in the description for the FastIK fabric script. I recommend making, you have the script folder already, but I recommend making a player scripts folder in that folder to be more organized. Select both of them. Again, select one, hold control and click on the other on the hands or the wrists, and drag and drop the FastIK fabric script into the like add component area in the inspector, and then this will pop up. Now I recommend putting snapback strength at 0.8, and the target and pull, what you want to do, so start with maybe L hand. I'm going to start with L hand. You want the target to be left hand controller, not the spheres like sphere L and sphere R. You want to make it left hand controller at the bottom, and then the pull, the upper one right before the shoulder. So the shoulder for me is right there like that, and moves the entire player's body, and then the upper arm just moves that. So the L hand, left hand controller, and then the upper arm, which is that part that my mouse is pointing at. And the same thing for R hand, but make it right hand controller for target, and then you want to make it the R, the right hand or the right side upper arm. Again, yours might be labeled or not. I will make another tutorial on how to make a player model. After you do that, now you are basically done with the player model test and stuff. And if you want to add a mirror, don't just exit off, because I'm going to teach you now. Add a cube to your scene. So I'll just use this cube, and then I'll name it mirror. If I know how to spell mirror, I'm gonna name it mirror, and I'm gonna move it to the side like that. And again, I'm gonna use a scale tool, which I taught you how to use in the last tutorial. I'm just gonna make mine big. It doesn't really matter your mirror size. I'm gonna use the other version of the scale tool, and then just move it there like that. Again, for me, it doesn't have to be perfect. And in the mirror, to duplicate like an object like I just did for this one to make the mirror, you want to hold control and then C and then V, and it duplicates it. Now I'm gonna name this mirror T for mirror texture, and then for me, I'm just gonna make it a bit smaller and move it up more like that, and then I'm just gonna move it back more, make it a bit thinner like that. Okay, now you may be wondering, how am I gonna make it so you can see the player and stuff? I recommend going to your textures. I recommend making a new folder, naming it mirrors, Alright, after you name it mirrors, right click, create, and then look for a render texture under lens flare, render texture, and just name it whatever. I'm gonna name it mirror if I know how to spell. And then I recommend making the size 2000, and then the filter mode point, which gives it a nice pixelated texture. And then you want to make another material in that folder if you made a folder, and I'm just gonna name it whatever. I'm gonna lower the smoothness, and then I'm going to drag the mirror texture I just made into here. Okay, now in the mirror, not the mirror like base, the mirror object, if you made a base, then if not, then it's just the mirror object. You want to give it a camera. To do that, you want to right click on it, and just under XR there should be camera, add it, and don't name it anything, and make sure gizmos are turned on. They are turned on by in the top right corner of the scene thing, this little sphere with dots. Make sure it's blue and the gizmos are turned on. Make sure it's rotated to be facing like your map, and then maybe move it in a bit more, and then move it down a bit more, like that. Now in the camera, in the inspector, you want to disable audio listener, uncheck that box, and where it says target texture, drag in the render texture you just made. Perfect. Okay, and make sure both sizes are the same. I don't know if I mentioned that. And now you want to drag in the texture like that, and as you can see, it is upside down, so maybe rotate the camera until it's perfect. If you want it to snap, hold control while rotating it or moving it, and control Z to undo. Now you may see that it's working, but the player is on the left side for the mirror, and in reality it's on like the kind of the right side of the mirror. So what you want to do is you want to take out the camera, and on the mirror hold control and scale it to the side and move it twice, kind of like this, as you can see. And now on the right side, and it's perfect. Drag the camera back in, and now you have a working mirror and a working player model. And as you can see, it's a bit laggy when I move that, but if you want to make sure that it is working, before we do, I recommend going to File and then Save. This just saves your project. I recommend to make sure that it's working. Again, just play test it in the Unity editor, not VR, because that's a lot of work. Wait for it to load. Alright, it's done loading. Sorry for the lag. Under Gorilla Rig, don't move it with Gorilla Rig, move it with Gorilla Player. As you can see, you know it's working if the player model is working, if the hands are in the middle. If you move one of the left hands or like the right hand, it'll move it. Now the lag is because of the mirror, and if you want to fix that, go to the render texture you made, and on the render texture just lower the resolution, or the size. I like to call it resolution. Lower the size, so I'm gonna make it 200. Lower that. It may look more pixelated, but it'll have less lag and allow your players to actually play the game. As you can see, the player model does work. I will teach you guys how to add hand animations, but yeah. Now this tutorial was super short, but if you enjoyed it, maybe send or comment feedback, or fill out the video idea form for maybe a video idea you want that I might not make. And maybe subscribe so you know when every tutorial or a new video gets posted, like something like this, because I will be posting a tutorial or video maybe every day from now on, just to keep a good schedule or posting schedule. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I hope this helped you. I don't know what to say.